Hello and welcome to my creative castle. I know you just saw me yesterday, and what was I doing for Whip Wednesday? I was working on this blue tank top that really has me stymied. I've been working on this for it feels like months. I know it hasn't been months, but it feels like months because I just can't get it right. I keep redesigning it over and over. So I said on Wednesday, I was like, I'll just get this stockinette portion done and it'll go quickly. Well, right, I have been working on the stockinette portion, and I've only got like 2 to 3 more rounds to go before I really have to make a decision. And right after I made that video, I was like, ooh, I could make it into a V-neck. So I went ahead and put some stitch markers in to mark the middle, right? In case I want to make it like a simple V-neck. But I'll be honest with you, I've only ever successfully designed a V-neck once before, and it was before I had the channel. I know I've showed it on here at least once. It's a tank top with some lace diamond hearts on it, and it's in the Knit Picks We Crochet. It's knit in the stroll. It's actually knit in fingering weight yarn, and I designed that. I don't know when, a few years ago now. I can't believe it's been a few years ago, but it has. Before I had my channel, but I mean, I've only had my channel for like 6 months or something like that. So, but you can see that particular tank top maybe in a video about stroll. Probably I can't even remember. I know I've showed it on the channel at least once, maybe twice. Probably a video on stroll when it was probably the yarn of the month that either Knit Picks or We Crochet. Can't remember honestly. But anyway, so here I am, uh, almost to the point where I've got to make a decision, right, on my tank top. And after I made that video, I was really getting like kind of, frustrated with myself because I'd said I really wanted this to get done by the end of September. I set myself like a goal. You're going to have this done by the end of September. It's going to be your last like finish. I wanted it done by the end of summer, and officially fall began on the 22nd of Monday, right? So, it's not going to be done by the end of summer. That's just how it is. And so then it's like, get done by the end of September. It'll be your last finish at Friday. Well, it's not. Okay, I'll just give you a hint. And then what's coming up tomorrow? It's not going to be my last finish at Friday in September. It just isn't. My brain just can't do this. And so I was kind of getting down on myself because I'd set myself a goal, and then my brain, I was getting kind of like anxious about it and kind of upset about it. And then I had to like have a whole long conversation with myself and be like, wait a minute. You know what? Knitting and crochet are my hobby, right? So they're supposed to bring me joy. Like my yarn makes me happy. My yarn brings me joy. It's where I go to be creative. It's my creative outlet. It's what I do to, escape the world, right? I would rather focus on a stitch pattern than all the drama and chaos of the world, because there's a lot going on in the world today, in the United States and globally, right? There's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of sadness, and there's a lot of things in the world, in the news. I really don't watch the news, okay? Be real with you. I don't watch it. I have DirecTV. I still pay them a lot of money every month, and I don't think I've watched my DirecTV in months. Yeah, in months. So I always scratch my head and think, why in the world am I still paying them money? Right? Because I don't even want to turn it on. Like, I don't want to turn it on. I don't want to watch the news. I don't watch talk shows. I don't watch reality TV. So I do scratch my head like every month when I have to pay that bill and think like, that's money I could spend on a yarn. Why am I doing that? But I do love shows. I have a few shows that I watch, right? I do. I watch Landman, which Landman season two's coming. If anybody's a Landman fan, I like it. That said, it's definitely adult content, adult language. Just FYI. Uh, Not a show, in my opinion, that's family content, but I did enjoy it, so I'm excited about that. But that's a total tangent that I didn't mean to go down. But I don't really watch. I love Yellowstone, and then I was like, when Yellowstone's over, I'll cancel DirecTV, and then they keep teasing like a spin-off with Rip and Beth, and so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait for that, right? So haven't canceled it yet, but my point is that I haven't turned it on in months, and still paying for it because I don't really pay attention to those things. But nonetheless, and I try not to be. I'm on YouTube a lot. That's where I'd rather escape. I'd rather escape into my yarn, and YouTube and the creative crafting kind of community, right? Not that it isn't good to be aware. It's very, very good to be aware, right? It's good to be aware of things in the world. It's good to be, I mean, you can't really be on the internet even and not know about some things that are happening in the world. And so we shouldn't completely stick our head in the sand either, right? We need to be aware and we need to be educated about what's going on in our world. But at the same time, we shouldn't let it overwhelm us, and we shouldn't, in my opinion, we shouldn't let other people tell us what we should think about those things. We just need to do the research, and that's kind of what I do. I just kind of look into things when I hear certain things, and I'm going to look into that, and I try to get a variety of perspectives and check this source, maybe check another source that might say something contradictory, and kind of try to see things from a variety of different sides. But basically what I'm saying with that is the world's already like depressing and stressful, right? And so I want my yarn to be like my happy place, my source of escape. And so the last thing that I want is for this project to become depressing and cause me anxiety and stress. So I was thinking, like, you know what? I need to take a different perspective on this project. And so that's why I wanted to come back today and talk to y'all about it, because, I was thinking, hey, it's Thursday, and I was just going to post like a yarn review. If you're new to my channel, by the way, hi, my name's May. I love yarn. I love to knit and crochet. Those are my hobbies. And I also happen to have been born visually impaired, legally blind, and completely colorblind. So I mostly knit and crochet by feel. So I do a lot of different content on my channel. A lot of it's yarn related. We look at yarn sales. We do yarn unboxings. We do yarn reviews. All kinds of things. But I like to do a little sitting and chatting too, and knitting. So I do like a Whip Wednesday and sometimes on Mondays with May, where we chat and stitch. But occasionally I do something called Not Your Therapist Thursday, right? And if you don't know why I do that yet, it's because I used to work in mental health. I used to work as a psychologist. And so the very things that were happening in my mind over this tank top were the things that I used to work with. And professionally, like, that was my profession. That was my business. I got paid, right, to talk to college students. I worked on a college campus. I talked to college students about their depression and anxiety and how to handle like things that are causing us stress in this world, and how to kind of step back from things and kind of analyze and reflect a little bit on things that are causing us sources of stress in the world. And so I was thinking about that with my tank top, and I was like, you know what, you got to approach this from being your own therapist, right? Because that's what I used to do. So I was like, you need to be your own therapist about this tank top right now, because it's really getting to you, and it shouldn't, and you should let it, right? So I was like, it's time for me to see myself as a therapist. And I thought, well, it's just perfect timing for a Not Your Therapist Thursday video then, where I probably need to see myself as a therapist. And I thought, you know what, just make a video about it and talk to other people about it, because we can all, whether it's our craft or not, we can all have things in life that can be stressful and can be anxiety provoking and can make us feel bad, because I was feeling bad that I couldn't get this top out right. I've been able to design over this summer. I designed that Dottie tank top. You can see it on a Finish It Friday. And you can see it where I learned how to create ribbing with crochet by doing the single crochet in the back loop. And I just literally started that tank top with wanting to learn that technique. And then I was like, what am I going to do with this? So I designed a tank top. And I designed that tank top in the Dottie Premiere in like 6 days. It went from like learning a new skill to complete a top in 6 days. And I was like, feeling good about that. And so then I was like looking at this tank top going, why does this one have me so stymied, right? Why is this one like my brain can't do it? And so I just had to look at this tank top and be like, you're not the boss of me, right? Like, this tank top is not the boss of me. And it is my hobby. It's not my craft. Or it's my hobby. It's a craft, and it's not my job, right? It's not my job. So, if I did have a literal boss and something was causing me stress at work, then you probably shouldn't say to your boss, you're not the boss of me, if they're literally the boss of you. But, it's not my child or something like that. Like, I know that there are things that we have to deal with in life that are stressful, right? Like job and children, right? Those are like, sometimes those are often sources of stress that we can't be like, not going to deal with that today, right? Usually we have to deal with deadlines at work, and we have to deal with children, even when they're, causing stress, right? So those are things that we really can't be like, not going to do it. But there's lots of other things in our life that we allow ourselves to get wrapped up in, stressed out about, that really in the end, they're not as important as somehow we've made them up to be in our head. So that's what I had to realize with this, is that I'm not on a deadline for anybody. Did I want to have it done by the end of September? I did. And I didn't make it, and that's going to be okay. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Maybe I'll have some kind of breakthrough after I make this video, or maybe I'll like shove it in a box or a bin and we won't see it for a year, or maybe we'll see it in March. Maybe when I complete it, we'll have a surprise tank top that can make its debut in April or something. I don't know if it'll show up on a Finish It Friday in the middle of November or the middle of February or October. Like, I have no idea when it's going to get done at this point. And it's not my job. Now, if I worked for a yarn company, that'd be different, right? Then it would be the boss of me. Like, if I had a contract, then of course, right? Of course, it would be different. Like, I'm not watching as many channels as I used to. I used to watch a lot, not watching as many, but I do still watch Glenda over at Creative Grandma, right? I watch her live streams, and, I know that she takes, like, deals and contracts and things from, like Lion Brand and Premiere to do blankets and stuff like that. And so she does have deadlines. So if you're taking a contract from a yarn company, then guess what? You got contracts, right? You got things that you got to do. You got contracts to do. And, you have deadlines. And then they are the boss of you because you're going to make money. So, of course, if I was actually working on this on a contract for somebody, then yeah, I would have to be serious about it. And I do hope that one day I can make money doing this. Like, I would love it on YouTube if I could, make money. I don't yet. I don't have enough subscribers to make money on YouTube yet. So just, by the way, if you do watch my videos and you're not subscribed and you enjoy my content, it would help me so much if you wanted to subscribe to my channel. That would really help me out, because that's how YouTube determines if we're ever eligible for money or not, is if we have what they consider enough subscribers. And so I don't have the subscriber count yet to be eligible for ad revenue. So I don't make money on ads on YouTube right now. So I am a long ways from saying that, I'm making this my career, right? I'm a long ways from being a professional knitter and crocheter, but I hope that one day I will be. And if I do make money off of YouTube, guess what? You know what I'm going to do with it? With anybody? I bet y'all can guess. Yeah, I'll give you a guess. Please let me know in the comment section, right? Let me know. What do you think I'm going to do with my money? Yeah. I'm gonna buy more yarn. That's all I'm gonna do, is just keep turning money around and buy more yarn. Right now, even now, I'm buying a lot of yarn, and I'm just like, you're investing in your YouTube channel, and I really believe that. I'm investing in my YouTube channel. So, we're looking at a lot of yarn. I like to have a lot of yarn in the house for me to touch, for me to get inspiration from, for me to get ideas from, because I can't go to the store. We talked about that on the Start Something Saturday video, which, thank you so much. If you watched that video, thank you. That seemed to be a popular video. Totally appreciate all of you who watched it. And that's one way that I get inspired, because I don't drive, is to just order yarn and have it in the house and touch it. Yeah, you want to do another Start Something Saturday video? Should we do it like the first Saturday of every month? Let me know your thoughts. If you watched it, did you enjoy it? What are your thoughts on that? Should we do one at the beginning of every month, right? I mean, to me, I feel like I could start something now. That's kind of what I'm just telling myself, is I'm like, you know what? Just, you have a mountain of yarn, and I literally do have a mountain of yarn in this house that is stacked well over my head. The mountain of yarn goes way over my head, okay? I'm like reaching way up to pull the boxes down. So there is indeed a mountain of yarn in this house for me to get inspired by. But if I make money at YouTube, I'm just gonna buy more yarn, because that's what makes me happy, right? So that was kind of the conversation that I had to have with myself over this top. Was like, this top is your hobby, right? This top is not my job. It's not giving me a paycheck every 2 weeks. It's not my child that, isn't doing well in school or is having issues that I have to deal with. It's literally just string and needles, right? And so would I like it to become something more? Yeah, I want it eventually to be an FO, to be a finished object. I want to be able to wear it. But, I haven't finished it yet, and I don't know when or if I'll finish it. Or maybe I'll try to make it into a V-neck, and then I won't be able to complete it, and that's okay. If I mess up the math, right, that's the thing that intimidates me about V-necks. I've designed one once before, and really haven't, I'm sure that I could look at other patterns and other tutorials and stuff like that. But if I do design it, I want it to be my own, and so I don't want someone to say, oh, you copied this person or you copied that person. And that's also why, I know that I could look up other channels right now and get help and get ideas and get inspo, right, for this. I know that I could do that. I could look up, a tank top pattern for this, and but then I would be taking somebody else's idea. And there's nothing wrong as long as you credit, right? I did my granny square skirt, and I was like, hey, these granny squares came from Jada and Stitches. That doesn't bother me at all to say that. To say, hey, I did not design this granny square. It came from Jada and Stitches. So I don't mind doing that. And when I work with Crystal's poncho from Bag O' Day, I'm like, you know what? This came from Crystal, right? I didn't design this. So, and I don't mind at all, sharing how I figured out how to do that skirt while I was working on the shawl that she designed. So, because I was really new to crochet then, and so I was really trying to learn it and to understand it. So now I'm doing less of that because, I want to. I still watch some people on YouTube. I still watch, Shannon from Another Yarn. I watch her sometimes, that kind of a thing. Watch Kayla. I watch Mama Llama Kayla over there. She makes a lot of amigurumi. Really enjoy her channel over there. But you know what? I'm not intentionally, looking at other people's garments right now, because I want this to be mine. And so I'm just telling myself, if you finish it, if you figure it out and you do the math, then do it and it'll be yours. And if you don't, then you don't. And so I know I could check it out. I know I could see what other people are doing, and say, hey, I saw this on somebody else's channel, and this is what I want to do with mine, right? But that's just not what I'm doing right now. I'd rather let this be mine from start to finish. And so, because I've already put so many hours into it, so many attempts and retries and this and that, and So, and at first, when I first put it on, I was like, thinking that I got the bottom part too big. But now I've tried it on again and I'm like, it's going to be fine. It's kind of loose, but it's definitely not going to be too big at all. So, but there is one other thing that I'm considering, and this if I finish this, right? Like I still, I could not finish it and have to be okay with that, right? There's other yarn in the house. There's other yarn right here next to me, right? We got yarn right here next to me. So we got some of the Brava Baby DK. Absolutely got to do some playing with that, right? We got to do some playing with that. So that's got to happen. So I still have that. That's the newer yarn from Knit Picks and We Crochet. It's the same Brava, but it's it's a new weight. So of course we got to have it in the house and play with it, all that. So, but here's what I'm thinking about with this particular top now. Like, I could, if I finish the top part, I got the bottom here and it's just kind of loose. So I'm trying to decide if I should do some single crochet on the bottom, or should I just leave the bottom how it is, right? Should I just leave the V stitches like that on the bottom, or should we do like just some single crochet on the bottom to to tidy it up, right? To make it a little bit neater and tidy it up a little bit more, or should we just be good? Or like I did the ribbing on that other tank top, like I could actually pick up from the bottom and do like some single crochet and then some double crochet, and then I could put some ribbing on the bottom of that too and do like a double crochet and then a front post double. We could do some ribbing on the bottom of that too. So that's another option, right? It seems like the options never end. When it comes to designing, it's like the more that you know, the more options that there are, and it's good. Like I'm super, super excited that I just keep trying, that I keep trying to learn skills. That's really what I'm trying to do right now. I'm spending a lot of time, believe it or not, like picking up yarn and just trying to crochet and like just kind of freestyle a bunch of stuff. Like I'm just trying at this point to become less, now that I've got some basic skills, right? I'm trying to, like, I still watch Juan the Yarn Addict over there. Like I love that I haven't even done any of his blankets yet, and I still would love to try to do one of his blankets for for Boggy Creek over there or something like that. But I haven't done that yet. And by the way, you will see for Finish It Friday, instead of this tank top, it's going to be my mal that I did with his channel, which is very cool. Super excited about that. So that's done, but that took me longer than I thought it would. I really did. I was like, oh, this is still a skill that I'm building. So there's that. But now, and I'm happy. I'm really happy that I learned skills, and that's what's important to me. So right now, I'm kind of at a point where I'm learning. I still have a lot to learn. Okay, I still have a lot to learn when it comes to crochet, and I still have a lot to learn when it comes to knitting too. So there's always more to learn. That's what's so fun and so exciting about it. I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. But right now, I'm just in between. When I'm struggling with this tank top, I just kind of like, pick up some yarn and some hooks, and I'm trying to just kind of like freestyle with my yarn and try to crochet better, and just try to work out like patterns and stitches in my head. And there are probably stitches and patterns that other people have already done. I don't know. That's the thing about crochet, is like, I don't know. Has somebody else already done that? I don't know, which is why I'm trying to intentionally spend, less time, right, looking at other people's stuff at this point and being like, okay, I can work these stitches out for myself, right? I can figure out how to do this and how to design. So I know I'm still going to be dependent on other people for a while with crochet, especially. I don't watch that many knitting channels anymore, just because I'm not saying that I can't still learn, right? I can. I have no clue how to do brioche knitting at all. I'm like, that's like a foreign language to me, right? And I don't even know if I could ever do brioche knitting. So there's still a lot for me to learn on knitting too, but I really don't watch. I watch Arne and Carlos over there. I watch them. And I, watch, but I don't really watch. I watch Knitting McPurley. That's right. I watch the Knitting McPurley podcast now and then. enjoy her podcast. That's a fun one. But you know, honestly, because you know, it's not that I can't learn. Still, I can. I can still learn. Like I did do Sock Week with Nitty Natty for sure. But you know, I don't really watch her channel regularly or anything like that. I just kind of want to, you know, I want to know that I am designing for me, right? I'm doing my own thing. So, you know, that's kind of why I'm intentionally not, you know, trying not to learn from other people as much as I'm trying to just, you know, do what people did pre YouTube, right? There was a time before YouTube in the world, right? When people learned from grandmas and aunties and, you know, knowledge was passed down and you learned so much and then you just kind of sat and played with your yarn. I mean, you know, not everybody, but, you know, I'm sure some people were, you know, pattern dependent for everything. But I know that too, that there were people who just sat and played with their yarn and their needles and their hooks. And right, that's how we got what we have. That's how we got stitch patterns that we have. That's how we got designs, right? Everything from, you know, the ripple and the ripple stitch and all of that, right? Like it's just things that nobody really owns, like the ripple stitch, right? Everybody can feel free to do a ripple stitch blanket or a ripple stitch towel or ripple stitch dishcloth or whatever, because in my opinion, you know, nobody owns that. That's not like a copyrighted pattern or something like that. So, you know, so people sort of like knowledge that have just kind of been, you know, passed down, right, in the crafting world. So, you know, I'm trying to just kind of do how people did, you know, before the internet. Now that I got the basics of crochet down, I'm trying to just kind of live like they did in the dark ages, right? I'm just trying to experiment. So I've been doing a lot of that, just sitting. And so I'll do a lot of frogging too, right? When you do that, you end up doing lots of frogging because you're like, well, that didn't work. Well, that didn't work. Well, that, and I know that I shouldn't frog everything. I should actually, you know, like keep some of it just to document, and I'll probably keep some of it to show y'all. Like I want to be able to put some of it, like some granny squares and some ideas that I have that are floating around in my head. I got so many like things that my mind is overwhelmed. So I got so many things going on up there that that truly is what the roadblock is at this point. Is like I feel like the more knowledge and idea, the more skills and knowledge and ideas that I have, the more possibilities there are, right? The possibilities are endless. The more you know, the less you know, is how I feel when it comes to so many things in life, but especially knitting and crochet. I feel like, oh wow, now I know that, and then I realize I don't, you know, like there is definitely more to know, but there's still more that I need to know. So, but I'm just kind of, you know, be realizing that the more that I know, I'm like, oh, well, then there's that, and then there's that, and there's just like endless possibilities. And so I kind of got like analysis paralysis where I'm like overwhelmed with all of the options to do with the top of this shirt. So I'm like, well, you know what? If you can't make a decision, part of me is like, just make it like the Dottie tank top, right? Just do that and just make it plain old tank top straps and it's going to be fine. You don't even have to make it into a V-neck if you don't want to, right? Just don't do the math because there's more math, right? Let's be real. When you make a V-neck, there's math. And then you got to make both sides match. See, that's the thing with the V-neck. When you do like I do with the Dottie one, you do still want to make sure that your sides match, right? That you got equal number of stitches bound off between each strap and the front. And that one I didn't get perfect. I know I mentioned that even. Like I got my back straps a little too far out from what I wanted. I wanted them back a little bit more. They were a little too close to kind of, you know, my arms and shoulders, and I wanted them a little bit more centered in the back. So I know I could take that and then, you know, move those stitches, because ideally I would have moved those stitches over about 2 to 3 stitches on the back in towards the center of my back. So I could do something like that and make it, you know, similar to that and be done with it, and that'd be simple. If I did a V-neck, that would definitely involve more mathing, right? And then you got to make both sides match. See, that's the thing. It's the same thing with me with sleeves and with socks. I'm like, man, now I got to make the other one to match. So when you do that with the V-neck and you start working your decreases and shaping your triangles on the top, uh, you got to do math. Yeah. And then you got to remember the math that you did. And for me, that's the hard part. I'm like, oh man, I got to remember what I did because I can't see my stitches well enough to, to go back. Like I know some people can read their stitches, right? Like if you're sighted enough, you can look at your work and you can read your stitches and you can say, okay, I did a row and I did an even row and I did a decreased row. And this is how I did it. And you can do it that way. But I don't really have enough sight to see my stitches well enough to tell, if I've got them exactly matching or not. And so that's a challenge for me. I'm trying to get better at like stopping after every row and dictating into my phone, okay, what did I just do? What did I just do? So, but anyway, so I'm just going to sit on this one for a little bit, and who knows if or when it will make an appearance on my channel. But it's not going to be here for Finish It Friday. Probably not going to be here in September. Probably not for October. We don't know when you'll see or hear from it again, or if you will or not. And I just wanted to have that conversation with any of you, right? Like, don't let your hobby, if you're not getting paid by a yarn company, right? If you don't have a contract with Lion Brand or Premier or something to design something, don't let it stress you out and overwhelm you and make you feel bad and make you feel anxious, because this hobby of mine, this yarn, I buy it, okay? I put it on my credit card and I buy it so that it shows up here and it makes me happy and it brings me joy. And so if it's causing me more stress than joy, then guess what? It's time to set it aside and play with other yarn. So, okay, well, that's the conversation I wanted to have with y'all, because I want some of y'all to thought that it is a good challenge ourselves, right? I say all the time, challenging myself to learn this, challenging myself to learn that. And I am challenging myself all the time to be like, learn how to do ribbing, learn how to do this, learn how to pick up and knit, right? Get better at that. And I think we should. But at the same time, we have to find the balance. We have to say, yes, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to learn a new skill, but I'm not going to let it like overwhelm me to the point that I'm feeling bad and it's stressful. Not when I'm not getting paid. If somebody's paying me big money for this design, that would probably be another story, right? If somebody was like, yeah, we're going to pay you $1,000, which, nobody's going to pay me $1,000 for my tank top design. That'd be a different story, right? But that's not happening around here. So this yarn is supposed to make me happy. And when it's making me feel too badly, and it's making me feel too stressed, then it's time for me to like step back, get some distance. So I just want to say that to any of you out there. If you're trying to design for the first time, or you're trying something new, if it's not your job and it's not your child, really stop and reflect on that and be like, can I get some distance from this? Is it really, how much distress is it causing me? Should I really be letting this cause me this much distress? Can I get a little bit more space? That kind of a thing. So anyways, do you want me to turn on the light? I know it's getting dark. Even I can tell it's getting dark. So I will pause the camera if you want, so you can see. I've been trying to like work out my channel so that it's weird because it's getting dark. Like up where I live in Washington State, we're losing like 2 to 3 minutes of daylight. We are. It's now the sun is setting before 7 p.m. now where I'm at. Okay, so we're losing daylight. So I'm really trying to time these videos so that I can do it when it's not too bright, but it's not too bright that it's so hard on my eyes, but it's not so dark that you all can't see. So gonna keep moving the time which we record because of where I live and the changing of sunrise and sunset and all those things. The earth is turning, right? Yeah, seasons are changing. So anyways, what I like to end with, right? Creativity is for everybody, whether you see or you see like me, which is not in color and not in the day, or you don't see it all. Creativity is for you. And whether it's knitting or crocheting or sewing or quilting or beading or sculpting or painting or weaving or carving or whatever it is that you do, today is a great day to craft and create. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, Happy stitching. Bye-bye for now. Okay, I'll put the camera on pause. I'll let you see the top, and then we'll go. Okay, so here it is on the bed. This is all that we have. This should be simple, right? I'm like, in theory, this should be simple. We just have these little V stitches on the bottom, and then we just have plain old stockinette over the bust area. So my big thing that I'm getting stymied over is what to do with the top. Do we have to do something? I'm kind of thinking about doing some open crochet. I'm thinking about returning to the V stitches and doing some straps. But I'm also thinking about just a plain old tank top like I did for the Dottie tank top. Or I'm thinking about, look, I got my stitch markers here right in the middle. I got an odd number of stitches. So we could put the center of a V-neck right here. And then, but then the tricky part is you got to work, before you do your bind off for the sleeves to divide, to stop working in the round and to work flat, you need to work, ideally, you would work some stitches in garter stitch to create an edge, and you'd work some stitches in garter stitch. So that would be, if I did a V-neck, I would want to work a little bit in garter stitch here, and then probably maintain some garter stitch stitches on the edges. If you've seen my video, I have a whole video on working garter stitch and how it will keep your project from curling. So that's always the tricky part. I'd probably do like 3 stitches in garter stitch, and then have to work my decreases on the inside, and then maintain that and remember what I did and replicate it on the other side. And that's the tricky part for me. Alrighty, my friends. Well, who knows what we'll do with this top. But until next time, happy stitching. I'm going to work on something else. Alrighty. Bye-bye for now.